Hello. Yeah. Hello. Hi guys.
All welcome our guest with a loud round of applause. കേട്ടോ അവരിപ്പോ കയറി വരുമ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞത്.
എന്താ
Let's welcome our guest with a loud round of applause.
Let's welcome our guest with a round of applause. A warm good morning to all. Federal Institute of Science and Technology, FISAT, is a private self-financing engineering college established and run by the Federal Bank Officers Association Educational Society, FBOAES. The FBOAES is an initiative of the Federal Bank Officers Association, FBOA, with the motto Focus on Excellence. FISAT has been designed and developed to become a center of excellence in professional education. Started in the year 2002, FISAT has been consistently molding students into valuable professionals with social commitment. The excellent academic and placement records make FISAT unique among the professional education sector in South India. The institution has been accredited by NAC with A+ grade. 5 BTech branches are accredited by NBA. The institution also received the coveted ISO 9001-2015 certification. MCA program in FISAT was started in the year 2006. The department is proud to consistently present qualified professionals to the software industry. The department has always been on track to bring out the best from the students and have been succeeded to bring out academic results and placement records every year. The department stays strong with its eminent faculty team and excellent infrastructure facilities. The department regularly conducts FTPs, workshops, and conferences to enrich latest technological developments and to connect faculty members, research scholars, and industry experts so as to foster industry academia introduction to promote productive research. Today, the Department of Computer Application is proud to present a 6-day faculty development program on AI trends and industry use cases, contemporary and future, in association with TCS Kochi. Let us start today's program by invoking the presence of God Almighty. Let us all rise for a silent prayer.
ലോകം മുഴുവൻ സുഖം പകരാനായി സ്നേഹദീപമേ മിഴി തുറക്കൂ. ലോകം മുഴുവൻ സുഖം പകരാനായി സ്നേഹദീപമേ മിഴി തുറക്കൂ. കദന നിവാരണ കനിവിഞ്ഞുറവി കാട്ടിൻ നടുവിൽ ലോകം മുഴുവൻ സുഖം പകരാനായി സ്നേഹദീപമേ മിഴി തുറക്കൂ. പരീക്ഷണത്തിൻ വാൾമുനയേറ്റി പടനിലത്തിൽ ഞങ്ങൾ വീഴുമ്പോൾ ഹൃദയ ശരിയാൽ രക്തം ചിന്തി മിഴിനീർ പുഴയിൽ താഴുമ്പോൾ താങ്ങായി തണലായി ദിവ്യോഷധിയായി താതാനാദാ കരം പിടിക്കൂ. ലോകം മുഴുവൻ സുഖം പകരാനായി സ്നേഹദീപമേ മിഴി തുറക്കൂ.
Thank you for the prayer. Now let's move forward with our program. Today, we have the distinct privilege of hosting a person whose expertise and guidance have been instrumental in shaping the future of computer applications in our institution. Our HOD of Computer Applications, Dr. Deepa Mary Matthews, is not just an academic leader, but also a visionary who has consistently raised the bar of excellence. With immense pleasure, I invite Dr. Deepa for welcoming the gathering.
Yeah, a very warm good morning to one and all. President of the meeting and Honorable Treasurer of ISAT, Mr. Janib J. Kachapalli. Distinguished Chief Guest of the Day, Mr. Anil Pai, Partner and Lead Digital Transformation Services, TCS Kochi. Ms. Ashida Menon, Region Head, Academic Interface Program, TCS Kochi. Respected Principal in Charge, Dr. Mini Pia. Dr. C. Sheila, Director and Research Development, Director of Research and Development Cell, FISAT. Dr. Unikata G, Dean Academics. Program Coordinators, Dr. Sindosh Kutam and Ms. Sona Mary Lewis. Participants of the program, faculty colleagues, and my dear students. On behalf of the Department of Computer Applications, FISAT, I'm delighted to welcome you all to this 6-day national level faculty development program on AI trends and industry use cases, contemporary and future, organized by the department in collaboration with the TCS Kochi. FISAT has been designed and developed to become a center of excellence in professional education with the motto, focus on excellence. In recognition to the Institute's academic excellence and overall growth, FISAT has been accredited with A+ grade by NAC, and 5 programs of FISAT have been accredited by the NBA team. All these are the clear evidence of the proper guidance and leadership of the FISAT management team. Today, we have Mr. Janib J. Kachapalli, the treasurer of FISAT, with us. In spite of his busy schedule, he kindly consented to be part of this meeting. He always supports all the activities of the department. On behalf of the Department of Computer Applications, let me welcome Janib sir to this meeting. Welcome, sir. The world of education is changing, and it is important for faculty members to keep up with the latest trends and developments. Every year, the Department of Computer Applications of FISAT used to organize faculty development programs in emerging areas. This year, the topic selected was AI trends. AI, artificial intelligence, is already having a major impact on the way we live and work. Some of you already may know about the recent trends of AI like generative AI, like ChatGPT, AI in voice technology, deepfake AI, etc. And by 2025, we expect to see greater adoption of AI in finance too. As we all know, TCS is a leader in AI innovation, and we are honored to have the partnership in organizing this. Mr. Rajiv Eruvath, the enterprise architect TCS, is handling about AI trends and predictions. Mr. Rajiv has been associating with the department since 2018 as an advisory board member of the department. Presently, he is heading the AI lab at TCS Kochi, and he is handling the day 5 sessions. And the last day session is handling by our faculty, Ms. Sona Mary Lewis. Her topic of the discussion is Build Your Future in AI and ML. And we would like to take this opportunity to thank TCS for the generous support of this program. And I'm very delighted to say that Ms. Ashida Menon, Region Head Academic Interface Program, TCS Kochi, is our first batch student. And she played a significant role in organizing this program. And I feel deeply honored standing here today to welcome Ms. Ashida to this meeting. It's a moment of extreme pleasure to welcome all our higher officials of ISAT. Dr. Mini Pia, Principal in Charge and Vice Principal of ISAT, is an epitome of hard work and dedication. She is very active and supportive in all the activities of our department. On behalf of everyone joined here, I welcome Mini Ma'am to this meeting. It's my absolute pleasure to welcome the Director of Research and Development, Dr. C. Sheila, to this meeting. The R&D cell of ISAT is very active cell, and recently the cell took initiative to publish an international journal. DMS, I welcome you to this function. Also, with great pleasure, let me extend a warm welcome to Dr. Unikata Ji, Dean Academics of ISAT. Previously, he was the placement coordinator of ISAT. Welcome you, sir, to this meeting. Let me also welcome the FDP coordinators, Dr. Santosh Kottam and Ms. Sona Mary Lewis, who took initiative to organize this function. They took a lot of efforts in organizing this event. Santosh sir was the point of contact with Ashida and the TCS team. With great pleasure, I welcome Santosh sir to this function. We have 200 plus participants to this event. As this event is organized in hybrid mode, most of the faculty joined with us in online mode. Thank you all for joining with us in this FDP. And on behalf of FISAT, I offer my regards to all the participants of this FDP, welcoming you all. I also want to take a moment to welcome all my dear faculty colleagues and students to this event. Once again, welcome you all. We hope that you will have a fruitful and enlightening experience at this FDP. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Now, I welcome Dr. Deepa Mary Matthews to this program. Ma'am, please. Now, it's my pleasure to welcome another key figure who plays a significant role in our institution's journey. Our treasurer, Mr. Janib J. Kachapalli, who ensures the financial strength and stability of our college. A responsibility that is pivotal to our continued growth and success. Without any more delay, let us extend a warm welcome to Mr. Janib for the presidential address. Sir, please.
A warm good morning to all. The chief guest of the day, Mr. Anil Pai, partner and lead digital transformation services TCS Kochi. Ms. Ashida Menon, regional head, academic interface program TCS Kochi. Principal in charge, Dr. Mini, HOD, Dr. Deeba, Dr. Sheila Madam, Dr. Unikata, dear faculty members, students, and the key speakers of the day, and the participants of this 6-day national level faculty development program. I am sure you are very much keen to dive into the new emerging technology, artificial intelligence. A few weeks back, our social media was flooded with a lot of animated videos of our superstars. You would have watched it. Our action heroes, Mohanlal and Mammootty, coming and acting as a Don of Godfather, Hollywood movies and all. And a few months back, state of Kerala also witnessed a lot of debate happened regarding AI cameras that were installed across the length and breadth of our state. A lot of debate has happened. So this word AI because when the machines started thinking, they will act also like that. So the senators and the giants of these IT companies, they had a meeting and they had stipulated that there should be a referee. There should be some stipulations in the growth of this technology. So my dear friends, AI is going to be turned how we are going to live in the future. It is already happening, knowingly or unknowingly. All the spheres of our life is getting invaded by this influence of AI. There's no doubt in it. I think a lot of speakers are here. They are very professionals in this development of this technology. One thing I am sure, earlier, how human species became, we started dominating this Earth's planet because of our intelligence. There's no doubt. That's why the human species can control all the creatures in this world. Now, it's the turn of machines. They started thinking. And that doesn't mean it is going to replace you and me. No, never. When the calculators came, there was a lot of hue and cry. It is going to end the mathematicians or whatever applications were done by the human beings. But it didn't happen. Then came the computers. Whatever advancement in the technology, it's not going to replace you or me. It's going to help each and every one of us if it is used rightly, judiciously. So AI is going to play a pivotal role in the advancement of technology. There is no doubt in it. But dear friends, the next 6 days, I'm sure all of you will be having a great insight into this emerging technology. And I am sure it is not going to replace you and me. But one thing it's sure, if you are not going to resorting to the learn AI, you will be replaced from the industry. So take it, learn, and become the masters of this technology. At this point of time, I thank TCS for collaborating with FISAT in conducting this 6-day FTP program. Also, I wish all the participants of this program all the best and congratulate the Department of Master of MCA for conducting such a wonderful program, which is relevant on these days. Thank you. Best wishes.
Thank you, sir. In our midst today is a true educational leader. Please welcome our principal in charge, Dr. Minnie Pia, whose unwavering dedication has been driving force behind our college success. Let's show our appreciation with a warm round of applause and welcome ma'am for principal's message. Please, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Good morning, all. Respected dignitaries on the dais, my colleagues and students and participants of this workshop. The topic that you have taken for this FTP, 6-day national FTP, is actually something very relevant today, as my earlier speaker, Janib sir, had also said. Last week, I got a WhatsApp video. I think many of you would have seen it. There was a event going on, and normally after an event, we try to collect the photographs where we were there. But then there was a QR code there. All we had to do was just scan it, and wherever, whatever images had our face through face recognition and AI, all those photos could be downloaded. That was one interesting application of AI. We know there are so many pros and cons of this. So selecting a topic like this for the FTP is something very relevant. And I congratulate the Department of Computer Applications for organizing this 6-day national FTP. I'm sure that it will be very beneficial to all of you. And with the partnership of TCS, we have had a very long association with TCS. And this is one more feather being added to the interaction that we have between us. So this also will make this FTP a very interesting one. And I hope all of you will have a very fruitful takeaway from this, wishing this FTP a huge success. Thank you, and best wishes to all of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Today is a day of great significance as we come together to inaugurate the program. The success of this moment wouldn't be complete without the presence of our esteemed guest. Mr. Anil Pai has more than 25 years of business experience across multiple roles, various industry verticals, and multiple countries, including India, Germany, and Australia. It is an immense pleasure to extend our invitation to Mr. Anil Pai, Partner and Lead Digital Transformation Services, TCS Kochi, to join us at the forefront of this moment. May I kindly request Anil sir to grace us with his presence on stage as we prepare to inaugurate the program. I request all the faculty, all the dignitaries to gather to this occasion.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you. I was one, you are so many, so I was expecting more. Thank you all for having me here for this session in the morning today. Thanks to the dignitaries from FISAT, all of you on the stage here. The wonderful ladies doing all the welcoming at the background. I know it's a lot of hard work. And all of you for having been here. And our sincere apologies. I think we were supposed to be here before 10 o'clock. But the traffic in Cochin is unpredictable. And I don't think any amount of AI could have helped us get in here before 10 o'clock. So those are the limitations of AI. Okay, not to over expect things. So anyway, back to the point. My name is Anil Pai, and I'm extremely happy to be here in the middle of all of you guys to talk about what I think I can add a bit of value to what your understanding of the subject is already. I say that because I know you're learning a lot about artificial intelligence. The only advantage that we have, or I have, along with Ashita, is that we are also dealing with a lot of customers out there who are kind of putting this to use to make a difference to people around us. Okay, and innovation along with the application is what makes a difference. Innovation by itself seldom makes a difference. Okay, we'll come to that. Now, I don't want to prolong this address more than what it should be, but I just wanted to leave you with 3 important messages that I thought important as I was sitting there and thinking what to say. First one is, I was driving to office in the morning today to TCS, and I heard on Radio Mango, I'm not sure how true it is, today happens to be the World Dreaming Day or something like that. Is it true? Have you heard that? So anyway, it doesn't matter, dreams are important. Okay. So even if it is not a dream day today, or it is a dream day today, doesn't matter. But having a dream in terms of what you want to do is very important, because whatever we have seen till date in terms of innovation, be it artificial intelligence or being people, doing certain things, starting companies, everything started as a small dream for somebody like you and me sitting somewhere in the world. Okay. So dream is one word I would leave with the team here. That's 1D. The second D is, when I was looking at some folks sitting here, are all of us sitting here faculties, or are they students also? Students also. Oh, so fantastic. So 1994, when I graduated from REC Calicut, okay, as a mechanical engineer. So before getting out, I mean, I had a mechanical engineer, so I'll come out and make cars and all those kind of things. Okay, crazy ideas. But then I realized, as I was sitting there and looking at people coming and talking on podiums, I was sitting there and somebody else was sitting here. From then till today, about 29 years in the industry, I realized that the only difference between people achieving something and people just sitting and wondering how these people are achieving is the point called doing. Okay, which means that it is all left to us. Opportunities are out there. Nobody will invite you and say, hey, please come and do this. No, that will happen only in college. Your madam will ask you, have you done the assignment? They will ask you, have you done the submission? So have you done will only happen as long as you are within institutions. The moment you are outside the gate of this institution, you may dance and you may sing and you may say that we are free. But the problem with the world out there is nobody will come and tell you, have you done this or not? So if you don't do this, imagine who's the loser. You or we, right? So doing is another point, and proactive doing is what I would recommend to all of you. Nobody will come and tell this to you. Nobody will come and pat your shoulder. Maybe the parents will do it. Maybe somebody who loves you will do it. But other than that, nobody actually bothers what you're doing. Okay. So dreaming is important. Doing is important. And last but not the least, discipline is very important. All right. And this is something I have seen from my experience working with multinational organizations and people across different continents. The only thing that differentiates majority of Indians with a majority of people outside, I'm carefully using the word majority because some of us are very disciplined, is the point of discipline. Okay. I had this experience when I was fitting machines in my first job in Robert Bosch in a place called Nashik. And typically what happened is when you unscrew something, there'll be some 20 screws, right? And when you put the screws back, sometimes you will have this ingenious ideas that, okay, 10 screws, chalta hai. Okay. It so happened that this Chalta hai attitude was there with a lot of Indian technicians I worked with. But there was one German guy who I met in 1998. I'm just a young engineer. And there were some 20 screws. And I saw that this gentleman was very patiently with all the different tools around him back in 98, loosening each of the screws, keeping them separately and putting them back. And then I said, look, I'm forgetting his name right now. I said, why are you putting back all those? Who's anyway going to look at it? He looked at me and said, I don't care if somebody knows or not. I know that there are supposed to be 20 screws. Okay. So that's the aspect of discipline. All right. So as I promised you, I will not drag this more than what it should be. So dreaming, doing, and discipline. If you look at something somebody is doing that is great, and if you look at something that somebody is doing that is not great, the difference is this. The difference is 3Ds. Okay. So I leave you with the idea of 3Ds, and we will move to the topic of artificial intelligence sometimes later in the program today. I thank you all once again for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, sir, madam, on the dais here, for getting me to this function and giving me the opportunity of being a chief guest here. Indeed, very honored. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for the wonderful message. Today, we are privileged to honor a true research visionary, our Director of Research, Dr. C. Sheila, who has been at the forefront of innovation and knowledge creation within our institution. I welcome you, ma'am, for the felicitation.
Thank you. Warm good morning to one and all. Respected President of the meeting, our Treasurer FBOAS, Janib sir, today's Chief Guest, Mr. Anil Pai, our resource person, Ms. Ashida, our Principal in charge, Dr. Bini, and Dean Academics, Dr. Unni, Dr. Deeba, Head of the Department of Computer Applications, and Dr. Santosh Kotam, Coordinator of this program, and Ms. Sona, and all my faculty colleagues and dear students and delegates and resource persons. I am extremely happy to attend this auspicious inaugural function of FDP. As far as FISAT is concerned, our computer applications department has been doing lot of activities, curricular and both co-curricular activities for the enrichment of students as well as faculties. I would like to congratulate the head of the department, Dr. Deba, and the coordinators, Dr. Santosh, Ms. Sona, and all my MCA team for organizing this wonderful FDP. You have chosen a wonderful topic because we are aware that in the domain of education, AI has the potential to transform education by providing personalized learning and improving student outcomes and enabling educators to be more effective. So I hope that this FDP will be more beneficial for you and wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Next, we welcome our Dean, Dr. Unni Kartaji, who has been a pillar of strength, guiding our college with unwavering dedication and vision. Your commitment to academic excellence and student success has left an indelible mark on our institution. Let us warmly welcome our esteemed Dean. Sir, please.
Good morning to one and all present here, dignitaries on and off the dais. To be honest, I'm very honored to be here on this occasion of the online FDP program, which the MCA department is organizing. I'm sure other than the people sitting here, there are nearly 200 people who have joined online. This is essentially aimed at faculty for improving or updating their skills in the emerging technologies that are coming up. Because when we as teachers, when we start learning things, when we study, there are certain things which we study, but over a period of time, unless we update ourselves, we will become outdated. Okay, so this is something which teachers face, especially in the domain of computer science and related technologies. So AI is something which, I'm sure all the teachers or most of the teachers or people like me may not have heard about when we studied it. But this is a time period in industry when, AI is touching each and everything you do, the shopping you do, or some browsing that you're doing, or some even traffic and so many things. It is AI is influencing so many things, teaching, education, all fields of engineering, manufacturing, and so many things are being getting involved. AI is getting involved in this. So I'm very happy that the Department of Computer Applications is organizing a program, which will cater to this need of, learning new technologies. So I would really appreciate the department for, taking this initiative and coming out with a program like this. And next, I have no words to thank TCS because the association with TCS has been pretty long. If you go to Cochin, we are pretty sure that if you go to the office of TCS in Cochin, you will hear a lot of sirs here and there. So there have been a few occasions where we go and visit TCS Kochi, and there'll be sir coming from here and there. Those are the students who came out from FISAT. I'm really happy that TCS has. In fact, it is a fact that TCS has been the largest employer. In terms of numbers who've taken students from our campus. That has given us a lot of confidence in terms of how we mold our students as well. There have been very good feedback. And I'm also proud that we have an alumni sitting on the dais today. And in fact, she took the initiative to, I believe, it was more of her initiative to have a program like this and connect with the people in TCS and gather all those resource person for this program. So special thanks to Ashita before thanking the the chief guest today. Okay, so that I would like to place on record a special thanks to Ashita for that. And anyone from TCS, it's very special when they visit our campus. So I met Anil Pai today. The first thing I asked is whether this is the first visit to our campus. Thank you for taking our invitation and coming here. I hope you'll have a very great time here. And I would request you to just have a visit in the campus as well, so that you can get to see, what we do in our campus and maybe see the kind of, effort we are put in for building this institution. So thank you so much for this association with FISAT, and then really thanking for that as well. Now, wish you all the very best. You students are getting to attend this session as well. So even though this is majorly aimed at faculty members as an FDP, students are also getting an opportunity to attend it. So please make use of this opportunity and learn. Whenever you get an opportunity to learn something new, please make use of it. So all the very best to all of you who are attending here and attending online, and wish you all the very best. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Now, it's my pleasure to invite Ms. Ashida Menon, Region Head Academic Interface Program, TCS Kochi, and alumni of MCA 2006 batch to facilitate the gathering. Ma'am, please.
Respected dignitaries on the dais, respected faculties, online participants, and dear students. It is with immense joy and pleasure that I'm standing in front of you on behalf of my organization, Tata Consultancy Services. I feel very fortunate to come down to my own campus for this purpose, to address this set of aspiring students and to facilitate this faculty development program. I feel very honored. So thank you so much to Santosh sir and Deepa ma'am to arrange this session in collaboration with TCS. We are honored for the same. And I was part of the first MCA batch back in 2009. I'm a 2009 pass out. So got a lot of fond memories from this campus, with this place, with this ambience, with this hall particularly. So thank you. Thanks a lot to entire FISAT management and my faculties. So over the last 15 years, I think IT industry has undergone a tremendous change. I think Anil would agree with me on that. Because way back when I was a student, we did not have much interactions So I think I request all of you to make use of the opportunity, and definitely the recent trend, which is AI, which is going to turn the lives of all of our lives. I mean, it is already changing, but this is going to be a very significant change from the perspective of IT. So definitely make use of the opportunity. And I know Anil has left 3 Ds for you to take back home, and I have 3 As, which are uh, be always aware, which means you'll have to be always aware of what is happening in industry, the recent IT industry. You might be choosing an option. Maybe you want to become an entrepreneur. Maybe you want to completely switch your career to some other field. Maybe you want to join IT organizations. Be it anything, you will have to be aware of what is happening around. Otherwise, you will fall back. Next thing is adaptable. Please be adaptable to whatever situations you are put into, which means you might be skilled in one particular technology today, and maybe you'll have to change the technology the next day. You don't have to hesitate for the same. You will have to change yourselves. Otherwise, again, you will fall back. Third would be aggressive. Always seek for continual learning. See, the point which I want to make out here is today, if you're at point, at least you should be moving to next. Maybe you will have to progress from one point to next point the other day in terms of learning. So that would also help you to be relevant in the market. In the interest of time, I will conclude with those words. And again, thank you. Thanks a lot. Thanks to my entire TCS team who has taken out their precious time for this, these series of sessions. Thank you, Anil. And thanks to entire FISAT management. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Today, we are privileged to have Mr. Anil Pai and Ms. Ashida Menon with us. We are fortunate enough to learn from their experience, which are some of the brightest minds in AI trends and industry use cases, contemporary and future. Your insights and expertise and dedication have added immense value to our program. We are deeply grateful for the time and effort you have invested in sharing your knowledge with us. It is because of individuals like you that we can continue to grow and expand our horizons. As a token of our appreciation, we would like to present you with a small token of our gratitude. Let me call upon Mr. Janib, sir, our treasurer, to hand over the memento to Mr. Anil, sir. Sir, please. Thank you, sir. Now, let me call upon Dr. Mini PR to hand over the memento to Ms. Ashida Menon, ma'am. Thank you for enriching our program with your wisdom and expertise. As we approach the conclusion of the formal inaugural function, it's now time to express our gratitude for all the wonderful insights and contributions we have received today. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Santosh Kottam, FTP Coordinator and Assistant Professor, Senior Dig, Department of Computer Applications, to express our senior gratitude for this wonderful occasion. Sir, please.
Honorable President of the function, Sri Janib Kachapalli, Treasurer, FBOES. Our most valuable chief guest, Mr. Anil Pai, Partner and Lead, Digital Transformation Services, TCS Kochi. Ms. Ashida Menon, Region Head, Academic Interface Program, TCS Kerala. Other dignitaries on and off the dais, delegates from various institutions, dear colleagues, and my dear students, a pleasant good morning to one and all. I'm very happy to mention that our computer application department stepped our foot again to the next step of success. Now, no doubt, this is a precious moment for us. As part of this blessed occasion, I would like to proffer a vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank our Honorable FISAT Governing Body Treasurer, Sri Dept Kachapalli, the President of the function. Thank you, sir. Next, our sincere thanks to our chief guest, Mr. Anil Pai, for accepting our invitation and for being with us this morning. Thank you, sir, for that interesting and highly informative speech. Now, I place on record of our gratitude to our principal, Dr. Mini PR, for her generous support for this event. Thank you, Miss, for your unstinted support. I also extend my thanks to Dr. C. Sheila, Director Research, Dr. Unnikartha, Dean Academics, Dr. Deepamary Matthews, Head of the Department Computer Application, for their enormous support and guidance in the organization of this event. I use this occasion to express our sincere thanks to Ms. Ashita Menon, our distinguished alumni from 2006 batch, and the Region Head Academic Interface Program, TCS Kerala. Actually, she was the real inspiration source of this FTP. Her timely intervention, advices, and support are not measurable. On behalf of Computer Application Department, I acknowledge our gratitude to Ms. Ashita Menon. Thank you, Ashita. Next, I thank my department colleagues, students, and the technical staff from multimedia for extending their willingness to undertake various responsibilities for making this event a grand success. I thankfully remembering the contributions and support of our FDP coordinator, Ms. Sona Mary Louise. Thank you, Ms. Above all, I thank all the participants from various institutions. As your participation has made this FDP a successful event, I believe that this FDP has certainly provided you an insight into the artificial intelligence. Thank you all. Once again, thank you very much to all who assembled here in online and offline. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now, I kindly request everyone to stand for our national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगल दायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Now, as we have come to the end of formal function, next we are going to
have a short break for 10 minutes.
ഓൺലൈനിലുള്ളവരോട് 2 മിനിറ്റിനുള്ളിൽ സെറ്റ് ചെയ്തിട്ട് തുടങ്ങുന്നുള്ള രീതിയിൽ വേണേൽ പറയാം. ഓൺലൈനിൽ ഇപ്പം സാർ ജോയിൻ ചെയ്തതിന് ശേഷം മാത്രമേ ഓൺലൈനിലാവൂ. അവിടെ കാണാനോ അവരോട് ലോഗിൻ ചെയ്യാൻ
Mute. For less time, it will be good.
ഇൻവിജിലേഷന്റെ ക്ലാസ് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. അപ്പം ഓഫീസിൽ ചെല്ലുന്ന രാജേഷ് മേടിക്കാൻ പറയുന്നുണ്ട്. അങ്ങനെ ചെല്ലാം. പുള്ളിക്കും കൊടുത്തു. I know that you all are eagerly waiting for the session by Mr. Anil Pai. Mr. Anil is a qualified mechanical engineer from National Institute of Technology, Calicut, who has an overall industry experience of over 28 years. He honed his core engineering skills working with Robert Bosch across their locations in Bangalore, Nashik, and Stuttgart, Germany, and then with ABB in Bangalore for over 14 years before joining TCS in Kochi in 2008. Anil has spent a large part of his career with TCS managing and consulting for SAP ERP transformations for clients across India and Australia. He incubated and expanded the global field service management practice for TCS in 2018 before taking on the role and responsibility for driving digital transformations in the manufacturing, energy resources, and utilities vertical in September 2002. I welcome you, sir, to the session. Over to you, sir.
Good morning. I'll just do a quick check. It works. All right. So you would have got this program layout in terms of what we are going to cover on each of the days. The topic that I had picked or what was given to me is AI adoption trends in key industries. I'm just making sure that you guys can hear me okay. Thank you. And I'm not sure how to check online, but I do believe that the online things are also working fine. Somewhere we just have to hope things are okay. All right. So on this topic, I'll roughly take about an hour 15 minutes. In case you do have any questions or queries or you want to stop me somewhere and ask something, please feel free. This is not just supposed to be a lecture, and especially all of you sitting in the hall here, you have the privilege, the advantage of just raising your hand, I can see you guys, okay? Unlike people online, I can't see them. Now, as with every topic, the moment in these days, the moment you get a topic to talk about, what do you do first? You go to Google, all right? That's what I did. So I went to Google, although I know what is happening in artificial intelligence, but I got, in fact, if you also go to Google and put artificial intelligence, you will get exactly the same thing, all right? Now, they say that as its simplest form, AI is a field which combines computer science and robust data sets to enable problem solving. And then it also says something else. But there were three words or three combination of words which are important here, which I thought I'll reiterate. Combines computer science. Computer science is something you learn here. There are people who are quite experts. Your faculties are great at doing that. So that's an area we will not go into right now. You are good at that. Then there is the point of robust data sets. We understand what is data. We also understand what is data sets, but the relevance of data and data sets in making sure AI works is something that my colleagues will touch upon in the subsequent days. Then the last word is problem solving. All right. If you know there's a problem, you can solve the problem. But if you don't know what a problem is, how will you solve it? But you also understand now that it's pretty important in the context of AI that you have your data sets in place, you understand what problem you're trying to solve, and then you also have computer science to handle all that. Computer science, I'm leaving it to FISAT. I know it's a great institution, so we will not go there. Okay. So the focus of my discussion today or my presentation to on this forum today would be more on what is happening out there in the industry, which is propelling this revolution of artificial intelligence. What are they trying to solve, or what are they already solving out there for the kind of industries where I have the privilege of seeing customers do some things. Okay, so that's the kind of backdrop. I hope it makes sense, and I hope you're looking forward to it. All right. Now, I just want to reiterate one point which I mentioned earlier, about innovation and adoption. Now, the moment I talk about steam engine, okay, what comes to your mind? Are there any names that come to your mind when I say steam engine? In fact, there are two names which do come up when you talk about steam engines. There was only one name when I was studying in engineering. At that time, there was no Google. All right. So the name of James Watt was something which used to come out very often in the context of steam engines. All of you are pretty young. You are from the Google age. So if you go to Google and say steam engine, you will have interchangeably names come up depending on what you're trying to search. All right. So there are two names associated with steam engine: Thomas Newcomen and James Watt. Okay. Any idea about how these two guys are related with steam engine? Okay. I know you have an idea. Maybe you're afraid to talk. That's fine. Now, if you look at the steam engine concept, Thomas Newcomen, I have to look there and point. Okay. He invented the steam engine in 1712, whereas our friend James Watt, who's more popular with the steam engine, he improved or improvised that about 50-60 years later on. But if you ask me who's more popular with the invention, adoption, and so on, it is James Watt. And the reason he's so famous is because of the application of the steam engine. Okay, the first design, there is a boiler here which creates steam, and there is a movement that is happening up and down. James Watt also, there is a kind of a steam creating cylinder here. But the only important thing was that in the case of James Watt, he was able to make the linear motion into a rotary motion. And then what happened? The adoption in industries actually skyrocketed because the mills were able to use them, the industries were able to use them, the locomotives were able to use them. Okay, and that's how we know about. We had this steam engines, right? You would have seen some of them, at least in museum somewhere. All right. So the idea what I'm trying to talk about here is, unless you have innovation meet a problem, or innovation meet a solution that it is trying to provide to industry, adoption becomes limited. Okay. And I do believe that the whole reason you are calling people from industry to come and talk to you about certain digital themes is you really want to understand what is the mass market appeal of those technologies. All right. Now, if you look at industry as a whole, there are different kinds of industries. Okay. There are industries in retail, for example. who are doing business of selling things to customers, supermarkets, and all those kind of things. There are companies or industries built around logistics, about getting goods from one place to the other, shipping things, moving things, packing things, all those kind of things, which is a very important industry now as compared to what it was several decades ago. You have industries around transportation, rail transportation, road transportation, what have you. You have industries around life sciences and pharma, who are trying to create medicines and medical devices and all those kind of things, which are helping at the forefront of finding cure to the problems of humanity. You have industries around utilities, electricity distribution, generation, and so on. You have the media sector, creating content for all of us to consume. We are all familiar with that. You have around the mining and those kind of things, which are the primary industries in terms of getting resources out of the earth's crust and helping us do some things with that. Then you have the communication media. You have this telecom organizations and so on, the 5Gs, the 6Gs, all that belongs to the comm sector. You have manufacturing, where goods are being produced, which touch all of us. In fact, I'll be taking some example from manufacturing today. Then you have the semiconductors, which are the high-tech industries. Okay. And then, around that, you have the technology and consulting kind of organizations, which is where I come from. You have banks and financial institutions. And last but not the least, the kind of, industry that you guys belong to, which is the, okay, it didn't come. The education sector. That's the last one that I wanted to talk about. Okay. Now, getting into manufacturing itself. Now, if you talk about a manufacturing organization or a manufacturing concern, you typically have, a set of customers who are buying or producing what you are buying or consuming what you are producing. So you always have a customer sector, that is consuming what the company is producing. You have a bunch of people, who form the organization itself, who are the manufacturing concern. You have a bunch of people who are supplying to the manufacturing concern, who are the suppliers of the organization. And then, you have manufacturing activity happening within the organization itself. Okay. There are raw materials coming in. There are finished goods, getting produced and going out. You have working capital and cash management that is happening in the middle there. And then you have a whole heap of, information systems and those kind of things, which are managing these, these interactions and these transactions. You have, for example, the CRM and the customer service on the right side. You have the supplier relationship management on the left side, managing the suppliers. You have activities of procurement, which are happening in the system. You have inventory management processes. You have production and maintenance, which are happening within. You have, say, human resource activities to manage the number of people that you have in the companies. Warehousing. And then things like, for example, your finance and controlling. And in the area of customer and service and so on, you have something called as CX. And in the area of human resource or employees, you have something called as employee experience, okay, which is getting very important these days. In terms of what are the customers feeling, what are the employees feeling, it is not just the process of managing them, but it is also the whole experience that somebody has after dealing with that organization. Okay, you would have seen a lot of companies doing surveys these days, right? Sir, we have provided you so and so service. How will you rate us, on a scale of 0 to 10? Do you get these calls sometimes? People do get it, right? To rate organizations. This is to capture the customer experience that organizations are providing. Okay. Now, there are a lot of key stakeholders in each of these organizations that we interact with. Okay. And I'm going back to the point I mentioned earlier. Where are we getting these problem statements from? Who are telling us what needs to be done? So it is people like this. There are so many profiles there. There are CEOs, there are chief operating officers, there are CFOs, chief human resource officers, CHRO. And then there are people who are below them, for example, supply chain head, your production head, and all those kind of other heads that you have. Okay, I'll not get into each one of them. The point I'm trying to make here is, in all these organizations, there are people driving certain focus areas, which are, helping those companies achieve some things. And these are the people who are sponsoring the kind of digital innovations or defining the kind of problems they have to be solved by companies like TCS and all the other companies that are out there. Okay, so talking to these people is how we get our inputs to package and to try and attack as problems, which we are then sometime providing solutions around artificial intelligence with. Okay, I'll get into one example here. So what I've done is taken a couple of examples where we do find customers adopting artificial intelligence, and this is one example. It is in the area of customer service. So when I say customer service, you understand that the company has produced something, it is sold to a customer, and now the company has to service those things. Okay. Now here it's a company that makes material handling equipment. It's Toyota Material Handling, and they had a problem statement where searching and evaluating the potential remedial measures in the field was a challenge for their technician. So you can imagine that this company is providing equipments all around the world. All right. And imagine there is an equipment working in, for example, FISAT. So you have a forklift, for example. The moment you have a problem with the forklift and this company dispatches a technician here, depending on the type of the forklift, he will have to find a solution which is required to fix that. Now, what is the nature of the challenge? The nature of the challenge is there are more than 5,000 existing models, more than 7 million configurations that they have already made, which are out there in the market. Okay, 1 million installed base. When you say 1 million installed base, 1 million number of equipments are out there in the world, which they have with different customers. Okay, so anybody coming in as a technician and joining this organization, practically he or she cannot remember, what is the configuration of equipment in FISAT, or what is the configuration of equipment working somewhere else in Cochin. You can't practically remember all that. This is where they have used artificial intelligence to search and evaluate the potential remedies that a technician could find for a given problem. So what does a technician do? The moment he sees a problem where for example, the lever is not lifting up, okay, he gets into their database on their mobile device and say lever not lifting up. Depending on the repository of knowledge which is available, which is fed inside in the background based on the history of past so many years, the system recommends them or recommends that please look at this in the order of priority. Okay, so that's an application of artificial intelligence where a lot of organizations in customer service are adopting this kind of practical use for their problem, and they are using AI cognitive search. I have also mentioned what kind of AI is used here, and also natural language processing. This was one of the winners of the Microsoft Awards for artificial intelligence about a year ago. This is one practical use that won an award there. Now, another example is of a logistics optimizer, by a global logistics organization. Now they had a problem of predicting outbound logistics shipment delays to minimize SLA violations. Now they had a lot of contracts with a lot of customers out there, and they had heavy penalties for missed delivery slots. Do you understand what is SLA? Service level agreement, which says that if I delay by so and so time or so and so hours, missed shipment, this is how much I will pay you as penalty. All right. So you can understand the amount of money at stake here for a global organization, handling millions of containers going worldwide. So they used artificial intelligence. In fact, the problem they had was trying to take care of, the moment you're saying that you have to predict the delays, you have variabilities which are coming in, right? So there are variabilities around inbound logistics, warehousing and transportation lead times are involved. There are manpower availability constraints you got to work with, the constraints of various equipment used in your warehouses to handle and pack things. And last but not the least, the real-time traffic and port congestion information. I and Ashita, although we are coming from, Kakinad to here, we were expecting, 60 minutes arrival, but we took about 70-75 minutes. Okay. In a condition where we had a cab, where we had everything. Imagine what happens in an organization here, handling millions of cargo going all across the world, with their trucks going all across in real-time traffic and, and these kind of scenarios. So you can understand that this amount of information that needs to be crunched in the background, which is considering traffic situation, which is considering what, equipment they have inside, which is considering what people are, turning up for work on each day. There has to be a system in the background doing this computation, because humanly, this is not possible. Okay. So this is one area where our customers are using it. Now, there are mentions of IoT and ML, machine learning, which means the system that is used here takes information from all the equipments and trucks which are going around in real time to see where each truck is, and it also uses a lot of machine learning algorithms to predict when that truck is going to arrive, when can we pack it, when can we send it back, etc., etc. Okay, so this is another example of practical use of artificial intelligence in one business area, which is logistics and supply chain. I have to look there and point. I'm getting confused. Okay. Now the third area is from supply chain management around supplier risk assessment. This is another area where you have to monitor the health of the supplier on a regular basis to make sure that your supplier is, able to supply to you on a long-term basis. I mean, all these organizations, which are dealing with, which have certain standards in place, the global organizations, they have mandatory requirements of risk assessment of suppliers to make sure that a supplier is viable in all senses, in financial sense, operating sense, environmental sense, etc., etc. Now here also, the supplier, operational health, the financial health, the competitive landscape that is happening with the supplier, to make sure that will the supplier survive what is going to happen, in the short term. External and geopolitical reason, what happened in the wake of the Russia and Ukraine war. Many companies, new companies came up, many companies went down. So these are the kind of things. Can you imagine a human being to calculate all this and find out what will happen? Maybe possible with a lot of thinking, but can't do in real time. Okay. Environment, health and safety and other factors. Now this is an area where machine learning was used by our customer to look at multiple things and to give recommendation on the possible what if scenarios, what can happen with the supplier overall risk scores. Okay. Now these are all multinational corporations, mind you, which are looking at multiple kind of factors impacting their customers in real time, their vendors in real time. Okay. Next one is asset management, where this is of a autonomous maintenance cobot. Okay. Cobot is a robot that works alongside a human. So cohabiting robot is called a cobot. Now what's happening here? There is a requirement to maintain autonomously, a certain set of machines, which means a robot has to go around and do certain kind of things. One is repetitive, which means if the filter is clogged, you got to change it. If something is stuck there, clean it. Clean certain parts on a repetitive basis, and also guided by vision. Depending on the condition, the robot has to go and do certain things. Okay. Now here what happened? Regular maintenance as per a defined checklist, inspect and to do things. If something is required to be done, it's got to be done. In tandem with a human operator, self-learning and correcting schedule based on actual situation. Now here there were three things used: IoT, ML and vision, artificial intelligence. Okay, I'm just also telling you what is involved in the background when the customers are creating solutions for their AI. This one is from a production end of line inspection, which is for a seat manufacturer, where depending on, I'll put the problem statement also. Depending on the requirement of, what their quality standards are, the visions are captured and the camera looks at each and every seat as it goes in real time. Now you have to understand that there is something called as tuck time. The meaning of tuck time is, you would have seen in assemblies that every 1 minute a seat is coming out, or every 1 minute certain part is coming out, right? That's a tuck time. So if you stand at the end of the assembly, the time between one part and the other part is called the tuck time. Okay. So all this that is happening in terms of artificial intelligence, or in terms of, finding out the error, has to happen in real time then and there. It does not mean that if it finds an anomaly, it waits and the line stops. Nothing like that happens. If there is a problem, that seat is lifted, it is moved out for correction, and the next seat moves forward. Okay. Now here they have used vision AI and machine learning. I mean, the logic understands what is a good part, what is a good seat, what is not a good seat, and what is a seat that needs to be moved aside. Okay. Now this is from customer service, again from an area of predictive asset management. Now there is a word I have used here: continuous upkeep of asset delivered to customer in the servitization model. Now this is a new model of working in the industry. Earlier what used to happen is, if you produce a engine or machine like this, it was sold to the customer, it belonged to the customer. Okay. Whenever there is an issue, the customer used to call, company used to send a technician, and then it used to be repaired. In the servitization model, what happens is, the ownership of this equipment remains with the supplier itself. So if, for example, Cummins is making the engine and giving it to somebody else to put in a mine, for example, it is the responsibility of Cummins to maintain it because Cummins still owns it. Other company has only rented it out. So that model of renting out, okay, is called servitization model. What happens in that model is the responsibility of making sure that this is running up every time is resting on the supplier. So if I am the company making that engine, it is my responsibility to make sure that this engine never goes down. So what does it mean? I have to know what is happening with the engine at all times. Okay, which means I will need things like, you know, your the IoT. I will need things like service data in terms of what is happening when it is happening. And there is one thing which is important here, the new concept of AI called digital twin, which means that the supplying company has a digital replica of this entire engine. Okay, how this engine is behaving in real time has been transformed into a digital version. It reacts in the same way. You give it data, it gives you back responses exactly the same way as a real engine would do. That is called a digital twin. And digital twin adoption has taken off a lot in manufacturing company, which is where I have another example, which is talking specifically of digital twin. In this case, it is for predictive asset management of a vertical roller mill that is used in cement companies. Okay. Now here again, they are looking at the asset health score in terms of what does it mean when the asset is nearing failure. Okay, you understand. For example, in the case of human beings, if your BP is going very high, if your heartbeat is going very high, that's a sign that there is some problem. Okay, likewise in the case of assets like this, there are a lot of telltale signs which will tell the company if the asset is requiring inspection or not. Then there are sensor data which is giving you data in real time in terms of what is the temperature happening, what is the oil level, everything, what is the vibration that is happening in the bearing. And then RUL, which is, you know, remaining useful life. It will give a prediction that based on this pattern, we predict that in next 2 months the failure will happen. Okay, so now this company, the operator that is looking at this, he doesn't have to go to the engine to check it every time, because there is data, there is analytics which is telling that, look, there is vibration happening. You know, there is the filter level which is showing clogging. There is vibration in the bearing that is coming up. So there is a prediction that perhaps in the next 45 days this will fail. Okay, so then the company can take a action to make sure that before the failure happens in say 45 days, somebody goes and rectifies that. All right. Okay, there seems to be some amount of freezing happening. Okay, no, I think it's okay. It's going a bit slow. Okay, so I'll just try navigating the slide one more time. I think it needs a bit more of time. Can somebody click that, sir? Just go to the next slide. Is it coming up? So digital twin is one, as it comes up, I just want to keep the conversation going. So digital twin is one aspect which is seeing a lot of adoption, not just in manufacturing, in customer service. And there are different versions of digital twin which are being used. There are design digital twins, which talk about, if you design certain things in a certain manner, how will they react? How will the actual usage happen? So you can kind of interact with the design and see how it works. There are process digital twins, which design end-to-end processes. And if you look at one part of the process and do what if, you will know what will happen at the other side of it. Okay. Then there are production. I already showed you in manufacturing engineering. There are digital twin. Is my screen locked? Madam, screen lock aayittundo illalla? Now, do you also know that there are entire cities working on the concept of digital twin? Does somebody know of any one popular city which has come to the news recently in terms of being a digital twin city? Any idea? Singapore has a digital twin of its own. Okay. Now, what does it mean? What it means is the entire city of Singapore, or the entire country, it's a country, it's a city, it's everything, is modeled as a digital replica. It has, information in terms of simulating how the traffic conditions are, how the flow of sewage is happening, how the traffic moves, weather conditions, which means that if they really want to know, if I do something in one part of Singapore, how will it impact the other part? Or if I, for example, want to simulate the congestion that will happen in Changi Airport, based on, say, Chinese New Year, or festivals in India, for example. A lot of traffic happens because of people traveling over vacation, right? So they can model that in real time because they have fed this data. Okay. Can you go to the slideshow mode, please? Slideshow account. Sorry. You have to bear with me all along, so we'll go. Okay. We were here and we were supposed to go here. Okay. So what I have done is I've also collated a number of examples from various industries. And I have not called out the names of all the companies here in the interest of our privacy to our customers. But you will see that a lot of examples are mentioned here in terms of what the usage are for, right? So in terms of a UK supermarket, for example, HR operational transformation, which means that the process of getting employee onboarded, getting the employee trained on what the various facets of the organizations are all maintained and managed by having mixed reality and AI solutions in place. Okay. If you look at this, for example, the American retail chain here, AI driven automation in terms of predicting what the customers are buying. Okay. If you look at a Belgian retailer, for example, mentioned here, they are trying to do next generation pricing, which is looking at what is the competitive pricing of goods and services they are selling around them to make sure that they are giving the best possible recommendation to their, of their prices to their customers in real time. Okay. A lot of examples out there. Perhaps we will come back to some of them in case we have, time later on and interest later on. But for sake of continuity, let me move on. Now, I have mentioned one point here that generative AI for sales and marketing and synthetic data generation is another area where customers are talking a lot to us. Okay. What does that mean? A lot of words. For sales and marketing, customers need a lot of content being generated for their customers. Sales and marketing is all about content, correct? It's about getting messages. It's about getting, information across, catchy slogans which are supposed to be given to customers. For doing that, a lot of generative AI uses are being, I would say, evaluated and also being tried. And there is also one area for synthetic data generation. Now, you understood now in the case of that digital twin. Can you visualize the amount of data that is required to make a digital twin? Let's understand digital twin of a motor. Okay. A motor will have RPM, a motor will have temperature, a motor will have, vibrations, a motor will have torque, power, all those kind of things. Now, you have to feed the data two-way. That means what happens when you do this input to the motor, how does it behave? And when the motor is behaving this way, what is the output that is coming from the motor? So all this amount of data somebody has to capture, feed into the system, train some model so that that when you do a what if analysis, the response from the motor is actually as if you are exactly sitting with a physical motor. The only difference is you are interacting with the motor using a computer. Now for a motor, that is the amount of data that is required to create one digital twin. So imagine the kind of data required the more the complexity of the system you are trying to simulate. When you are looking at simulating a process, for example, you need to have end-to-end data of the process. Now, where I am coming from is, where do you get all this data from? We haven't started capturing data 10, 20, 30 years ago. We are capturing data only recently, correct? So that means there are a lot of missing chunks of data here and there, which companies need to create something to teach the AI and ML systems, correct? It's a two-way edge, you know. When you have a lot of data, you can have good training for your data models so that your algorithms work correctly, correct? But for that, where do you get the data from? So this is where data creation is also an AI usage. So that is called synthetic data. Okay. So based on certain logic of the process and etc., companies create a lot of data which looks like real data that is captured from the field, and that is used for training the various models they are creating. Does it make sense to you that you need a lot of data and not every data is available in records? Okay. So that's one area. Now, the general approach that we are finding, or that we are seeing customers coming across, for AI adoption, has 3 or 4 main key parameters. Okay. Number 1 is a problem statement, and I have put it in red for a purpose. For a reason, I'll come to it. Because the problem statement is also put in such a manner, it is not saying that, okay, create a model for a motor here. They don't tell us that way. The problem statement comes in different ways. Okay. For example, one conversation I was having with a chief operating officer about 2 months ago, and the statement was like this: I am looking for using AI. Okay, I hope we'll need some kind of AI for our electrical systems also one day. I'm looking for using AI for sustainable and green field services. If you are an engineer working with this chief operating officer, for interpreting that sentence, you will need training, isn't it? So what does it mean? By learning algorithms alone, it is not sufficient. You will also need to have some knowledge and some skills, which I'll come to in the next slide. Okay. So this is the way that the problem statements actually come to us. Nobody tells us directly what to do. So based on our understanding of what they are implying, we sit with them, we do the solution evolution and define it. So there's a bit of defining the problem that happens after the problem is stated by the customer. And the customer states the problem from a very industry perspective. Okay, this is one example I told you. Then there are proof of concepts that happen, which means that you think that this is the way the problem can be solved. So you define the problem in a particular manner. You make an experiment, the kind of experiments you people do it, and you try out. And then you try out whether the system is giving you the right kind of response or not. You create a data set, use 80% of data for testing, training, and all those, you know that, right? And then once you feel that everything is working the way it should, it is deployed in a actual industrial scenario. All right. Now, why did I tell you this? The way the problems, are being stated by the customer, because I also want to, kind of get the points across that the skills that people have to develop to meet these challenges. Of course, number 1 is the AI tools and approaches, which you are being taught in some of your curriculum courses. And you go to Google and all that, YouTube, you will find tons of videos in terms of how to work with the algorithms. Okay. But more important than knowing the algorithms is knowing what to do with the algorithm. Okay. That is where, your domain knowledge comes into picture. And domain knowledge has 2 perspectives. All right. Domain knowledge is, for example, human resource management is a domain. Correct? But doing human resource management for selecting faculties in an education institution is one way of doing it. If you are selecting some people to work in underground mines in Perth in Australia, can the same systems which are used for doing human resource management in FISAT be used there also? Maybe 20%, maybe 30%. But there are certain other things for managing human resources in a mining scenario, which will be different from what it is in a educational institution scenario. Okay. So the domain has 2 parts. One is the business area, like for example, HR management, or your finance management, or supply chain management, or manufacturing or engineering. So that's a domain. And then there is the industry flavor. Which industry are you working with? Are you working with, again gone? Are you working with the industry which is involved in education? Are you working with industry involved in mining? Are you working with industry involved in supply chain? So combination of these 2 is called the domain knowledge. There were two other things that I wanted to bring forward to. Okay. Third part was that the idea of thinking differently. You cannot have a linear thinking to solve this problem. Can you? Do you remember this interesting, it's a WhatsApp kind of thing, but there was this, challenge that the Americans had of creating a pen for going to the outer space. Have you heard of this joke? Yes and no? Okay, maybe I'll tell it for the purpose of those who don't know. So there was a big challenge that they were spending a lot of money in NASA to create the pen that can write in space, because in space there is no gravity, right? And for our normal pens to write, you need gravity because the ink has to flow in one direction and all those kind of things. Okay. So these people are researching. I mean, they went to different institutions. They came to FISAT also, I heard. I'm just kidding. And finally, they came with a very sophisticated pen, spending about $3 or $4 million. Okay. Then they went to Russia and they checked with Russia. Hey guys, we have a nice pen, which can write in space. What are you guys doing? And the Russians said, what are we doing? We are using pencil. Okay. So the joke here is that innovation and those kind of things doesn't necessarily have to be involved with deep research and those kind of things. You have to think differently. So the third aspect of being successful with AI is the ability to think different. Okay, is it come there? All right. Lateral thinking, design thinking, and maybe a lot of analysis. There are a lot of analysis ways which look at a problem statement in terms of going to the root cause of a problem, or using diagrams like Ishikawa diagram. I'm sure you heard of all that in your courses. Fishbone analysis. These are tools which you are never going to lose in your career if you really want to make something in artificial intelligence. It's all to do with cause and effect. Okay. Last but not the least, client engagement and negotiation. Please understand that the client is coming to us with statements which are at a high level. Okay. They are not telling us exactly how it is to be done. In colleges, as long as you are in educational institutions, till you leave the gates of this institution, problems will be very well defined. This is the scenario 1, this is the X, this is Y. You just have to write an answer to that. In the case of industry, the problem statements are quite vague. I took an example of what the COO said some time ago. He said, please help us understand how AI can help us with, for example, doing green field services. Now, the moment they say green field services, I have to understand what green means in their context, which basically means the amount of truck rolls have to reduce, the amount of wasted efforts in traveling to a customer site has to reduce. Those are the interpretation of green. Using less documentation, for example, using less paper is green, for example. Okay. How to make their vehicles which are used for going to the customer site to make them more efficient is green. And then the aspect of customer service. So you have to understand what customer service is all about, all the various processes, etc. Right. So green field service could mean understanding green and understanding field services. So unless you understand the domain, in that case, it is difficult to comprehend. And you have to now engage with the customer and tell him that, look, this is what I understand, and this is what I believe is in the best interest of you to implement. Because many times customers could also be very senior people, very difficult to have discussions with. So engagement and negotiation with the customer to tell them that this is what we will do to meet your objective is a very important point to consider. All right. Just doing a time check. Okay, we are coming to 12. Now, I also wanted to mention that although when we talk about AI and ML, we always spend a lot of time on the engineering and the implementation part of it. Okay, that means we say, tell me the problem, I'm just interested in the problem. I don't really believe in doing other things. But let me tell you that a lot of efforts in the area of AI and ML is spent in a lot of other areas also. What are the other areas? Industry focus and AI platforms. That means you have to make your AI solution in the context of the industry you are trying to solve problems with. Data foundations for AI. I mentioned this earlier also. So there is a whole heap of expertise that is required to make sure that the data that goes into AI is of the right standard. So there is data management, there is data governance, there is data creation. A whole lot of data science is involved there. So that is equally important, if not more, than AI engineering itself. Okay. Then there are strategic advisory services where, as I mentioned earlier, you have to engage with the customer to find out what they want and tell them in terms of what the deployment should be. Okay. AI governance, because the moment you create an AI, you have to make sure that there is a system in place to make sure that AI is continuously used, monitored, upkept, and those kind of things. Okay. AI monitoring and operations itself, where when multiple AI solutions are being deployed, how are you making sure that the common data platforms are used? How are you making sure that changes in one are not impacting changes in others? So a whole lot of governance around that. The reason I told you this is the moment you look at making career choices based on AI, there is a lot that is happening in the back than just creating the AI algorithm or AI solution. Okay. Now, I also wanted to mention here that the moment we say, we are talking about AI, we believe that everything can be solved by using the concept of AI. And this is where we have to keep in mind or bear in mind that not everything has an AI solution. Why did I say that? Some of the problems we face in life are puzzles. Okay. What are puzzles? Puzzles have there's a problem statement and there is a solution statement. And there is normally a one-to-one connection. Okay. For example, if you look at this jigsaw, there is only one way that the jigsaw can fit together. So it's a puzzle. That means you do something, something happens. It's one-way connection. Now, there are some problems in life which are mysteries, which means that you think that there's a lot of connection between input and output, but in reality, there's always a gap. Okay, and we also know that in machine learning, many times we don't know. In unsupervised learning, whatever decisions the machine make, we are not very sure why it made that. Okay, somewhere we live with that. We talk about bias, etc. We'll come to that later on. But the point I'm trying to make is you cannot be 100% sure of some problems where the number of parameters influencing that problem is way too many and you are not very sure about one-to-one connection. Okay, and in this context, there were two examples I wanted to discuss with you. For example, in the case of the first Ford motor, right? The car that hated the vanilla ice cream. Have you heard of this story? There was a car that did not like the vanilla ice cream. Okay, and that's a puzzle. Now imagine if this problem statement is given to some of us, what we will do. I will tell you the story and then we will come to the discussion. So there was this car, this happened in Ford Motor Company somewhere in the 80s or 90s. There is a call that goes to the customer service department from an old lady who calls and says that, look, my Ford car, my Ford, this SUV does not like vanilla ice cream. That's a problem statement. So the guy who picked up the phone, kind of said, ma'am, sorry, you're calling Ford company. I mean, we don't make ice cream. She said, no, I know I'm calling Ford company, but I want to tell you that my car does not like vanilla ice cream. All right. And the moment he was talking, there was a manager who was passing by. Manager was pretty smart. He was a very switched on guy. He picked up the phone from his guy, said, look, let me talk. He said, yes, ma'am, what can I do for you? She said, look, my car doesn't like vanilla ice cream. He said, okay, ma'am, I understand that. But can I come and have a look with, with you just to see that what is happening when you are, why are you saying that your car doesn't like vanilla ice cream? So can I come down to you? She said, okay, you can come and meet me next week. So they fix up an appointment. Next Monday, this guy flies down. I mean, it's a big country. He was in one part. He had to fly down. So he goes there. He meets this lady. She comes in this, Ford car to pick him up. And they're having a good conversation and they're going, right? And then he tells her, look, I got your call. I do understand your concerns. So can you please tell me, why did you say that your car doesn't like vanilla ice cream? So she says, I can prove it to you. She says, okay, let's do it. So they go to a supermarket and she gets into a supermarket. She pulls into a slot where she normally parks. They go into the supermarket. She buys a 1 liter pack of vanilla ice cream and they come back to the car and he says, okay, now what are you going to do? She says, look, I got the vanilla ice cream. I'll keep it in the car. Let me start the car. She puts the key inside the ignition. She turns the key. The car doesn't start. It just makes a sound. And this fellow is thinking, my God, what's the problem now? Finally, they have the vanilla ice cream because it was melting. They are discussing and she says, look, this happens every time I buy vanilla. He says, but why do you think the car doesn't like vanilla? I mean, any ice cream you buy, it should happen. She says, no. If I buy the, the blueberry with the cheesecake and so on, it works. He says, what do you mean? He says, yes, I can prove it to you. So he says, okay, look, I just had the ice cream, so let's go on a drive and come back. So they go around and all, they come back again. She parks the car. They walk inside. she goes to the end of the aisle and there is this blueberry and cheesecake with, macadamia nuts and all those very exotic ice cream, right? She gets the ice cream, they come back to the car, she puts the, ignition inside the key inside the ignition, she turns the key, what happens? The car starts. And this fellow is now perplexed. He's saying, my God, she got the vanilla ice cream, the car did not start. And she bought this very, very exotic variety and the car indeed started. Now, if you were the engineer who were working with the lady, what will you do? Will you program your artificial intelligence by putting vanilla ice cream and exotic ice creams? We will not do that, right? We'll go behind the scene. This fellow was smart. He was from FISAT. So what did he do? He then said, ma'am, the problem is not the vanilla ice cream or the exotic ice cream. Do you know what the problem was? Anyone? Okay. He was a sharp engineer, right? So he followed the lady as she went into the supermarket. Vanilla is a very fast moving variety, right? It's a very fast. Normally when you say ice cream, it's vanilla. So what they had done was they had kept the vanilla check-in, this ice cream, this thing, close to the checkout counter. So for getting a vanilla ice cream, you just had to pick up the can and swipe and go. So the time between the engine getting off and then you coming back to the engine was less than 5 minutes. And there was a vapor lock that was getting formed in the casing of the engine, which was taking time to get released. Okay. So when she was buying the vanilla and coming back, she was always back to the car in less than 5 minutes. But exotic ice creams are exotic ice creams. And generally when you go to supermarkets, you will find exotic kept in the corner. I'm talking in the context of America or Australia and all that. That's normally the case. They're always kept at the back in a corner. So which means she had to walk all the way till the end of the aisle, looked at this thing and come back. And it was easily more than 10 or 12 minutes. Okay. So what was happening is in those 10 or 12 minutes, there was enough time for this vapor lock to escape. So when he started the car started. So the story I'm trying to tell you here is we have to be careful in terms of what are we associating in terms of cause and effect. And in the case of puzzles with a little bit of observations, we can do that. And the reason I took this extreme story is to tell you that observation should not be limited to level 1. It has to go further down. So in summary, it wasn't a vanilla or a non-vanilla that the problem was. Problem was the timing between the switching off of the car and the switching on of the car again. Okay, it's a very popular story. Now, second picture is of a mystery. And this gentleman I personally know. I personally knew. He's no more. Okay. He is the youngest CEO of any multinational company in India, late Ranjan Das. He was the CEO of SAP in India. And he died when I was working with a large SAP team in fertilizer and chemical, Travancore, our Kalamashiri, FACT Kalamashiri, right? Now, I have seen him in person. He was 42 years of age when he died. Fit guy. He comes to this room, you will think he's a student. Young, dynamic, full of energy. This fellow died of a massive heart attack just after his exercise in the morning in Mumbai. Now, he never drank alcohol, I mean to say. He never smoked. He always had a complete sleep, so to say. Was always positive, had no stress. That's what the factors given to us. So what I'm trying to tell you is, imagine if we have an AI model predicting the health of people, he will never figure there as a guy who's going to die of heart attack. So this is what I categorize as mystery. You can never be sure about these kind of applications where a lot of data is coming in where you really don't know. If you just categorize him versus me or anybody else, you will say maybe I'll die earlier than him. Not as healthy as he is, not as fit as he is. I don't exercise that often. I once in a while I have a glass of beer or those kind of things. So what I'm trying to tell you is, please be very careful in segregating 1:1 relationship, which are puzzles, versus multiple relationship. And if you don't understand, don't try to use AI because that will do more harm than good. Okay. So those are areas where I thought limitations of AI should be brought forward. So in conclusion, I just wanted to mention that AI impacts all the 5 M's of manufacturing and operations. It's a great tool. And when I say 5M in manufacturing, it talks about, your man, machine, material, method, and milieu in the environment. And this is applicable for any business for that matter. Okay, you may not have machine everywhere, but at least you are trying to convert some product or some service which in one form to other, so that it is of some use to the customer. Okay, so manufacturing or operation, AI can touch all the areas. That's what I tried to show you in the discussion. But I just want to leave you with one last important thought about this tool, which is a very famous quote by one of the very famous guys in IT industry: a fool with a tool is still a fool. So if you really do not understand the problem, okay, having a great AI solution is not going to make a difference. Okay, and that's the reason I showed you all the previous example which are related to business, so that you understand what is the spread of business involved and what are the various domains that are involved in possible application of AI, things like digital, your digital twin and all those kind of things. Okay, that's what I thought I will leave the audience today with. I can go back to the industry example in case people are interested, but I do feel that we have delivered quite a lot of content, and I don't want to lose them completely. I know I told them to dream. People might dream immediately. So with that, I think we have come to the end of our session. In case people have any questions online, or people want to say something in terms of what they observed or found useful, more than happy. I just had one more slide towards the end where I can show you. This is just one example of an AI platform of Azure, where you will see what are the various kinds of things which are very popularly used. And this is on Azure. You can also try it. It's all available online. Conversational AI, document AI, machine learning, cognitive search. These are all digital twin and IoT. These are all the mass applications which are happening out there. And again, as I told in the beginning of this session, we don't need invitation for people to go and experiment. The more you explore, the more you will learn. Okay. So I'll come back to the thank you slide. That's all what I had to present, sir. If folks have any questions or anything you want to ask me, the floor is open.
Thank you, sir, for the session. Now it's time for queries. Participants can clear their doubts about the session now.
And don't be afraid. Look, the whole point we are trying to make here. The point we are trying to make here is there is a lot of things happening out there in the industry, right? The idea to tell you this today is so that you will know that, hey, this is an area where perhaps I can solve more issues, can read more about that. So this is not the entire solution that you have. This is just an idea to the solution so that you can explore more, and perhaps by the time the faculties here or the students here decide to work with industries later on, you know the areas to focus on. Okay, that's the whole idea. I hope we were able to do some justice to it in the time given to us.
So one faculty, Anna, was joined online, have a query. Please explain the major applications of AI in the retail industry.
The majority of application in the retail sector is 4 or 5 that I have come across. I'm not deeply with the retail sector, but I'll tell you the most important ones. Number one is the placement of that means merchandising, as we call it. Okay, so merchandising recommendation is something that companies use it a lot for. Dynamic pricing, that means in terms of what is the right price to position this good to the customer. Then we all buy online. The moment you buy a jeans, it will recommend your top, correct? They're very simple combinational kind of things. So those are the typical usage of AI for retail: merchandising, pricing, recommendations. I hope Anna got her answer.
Hope the query is clear for Anna. Any other queries from students' side?
And also this other one, where I see my daughter doing it a lot. You want to buy some lipstick and those kind of things. You go and buy and it takes your picture. Have you seen that?
We can give a try.
Exactly. And also trying out your shirt, etc. See, those are all mainstream. I mean, I don't really have to tell you that because you guys are using it more than we do it. It's the mass adoption is much more.
Any queries from students' side? Hope the session was so interesting to them so that they have no queries left.
Absolutely fine. Look, and the thing is that this is to get you thinking. You are starting your journey here. If you all were, James Watt, you will be outside somewhere, right? The whole idea is you're starting your journey. This was to leave the thoughts with you. So take the thoughts back, think about it, and I'm sure you'll get the ideas. And for many of the problems or queries you have, you will also find the solution online. If you don't, always reach out.
Sir, I have one query. The query is the day by day the AI is getting or the AI is affecting our daily life. Suppose AI is and affecting our life, how much extent it will affect the layman? Okay. And the next thing is how it will affect our employability. Okay. Can you answer these two questions?
Definitely. So talking about the AI impacting a layman, okay. I was in Australia 2012 to 2018, and around 2014, 2015, I came back to Mumbai with a customer. While going from India, there was hardly any, Google Map navigation or those kind of things. Uber was not heard of, Ola was not heard, nothing was there. 2015, 2016, I came to this with my customer to Mumbai, and everywhere, this is, Google navigation is working, Ola is working, Uber is working. I was zapped for a moment that, is this the same country I left about 3-4 years ago? So what I'm trying to answer in a long way is that the way this, the commercial, not commercial, the mass industry adoption of AI has happened. You look at this selection of garments online, for example, trying out the fashion products online, for example. People who have no idea with computers or those kind of things are using this much more than perhaps people like me. Okay. So the way the solutions are being designed, they are so intuitive that the adoption at this mass scale is happening way faster. The other example I showed you, supply chain management and all those kind of things, are enterprise applications. And in enterprise applications, sir, what happens is generally people come with a bit of educational background. So adoption happens at, much more faster with those kind of things because it's for enterprise level. But with the mass media, not mass media, mass consumer things like retail and transportation and Ubers and Olas and Swiggies and all that, it happens because that's the way they are designed. It's very intuitive. Okay, that's the first part of it. Second part, you spoke about employability. In 2008, when I did the Cochin E-Port project, the first point they made is once computer comes in, our jobs will go. Okay, and if you look at the Indian job market from that till here, it has only gone up, which means more people are finding jobs. So what I'm trying to tell you is, please understand, this is just a myth, just like all the previous invention. Myth always takes, precedence before that. Interestingly, there's this story about, horse and horse manure in England, right? In the late 1800s, they had so much of horses running the streets of London, and managing the horse poo was a big problem. And they said that, look, at this rate, in the next 50 years, we will have to employ so many people to keep the streets of London clean. And guess what happened in the next 50 years? Automobiles came. So what I'm trying to tell you is, AI is just one of the steps of, us towards the future. There are so many applications of AI which are coming up that people who are handling technology will go from doing the repetitive work that the AI was doing to the value-added work which the AI can't do. Okay, so we'll always move up, sir. I and you have jobs for a long time, and the kids too. Okay, I hope it makes sense to you guys. Okay, so if we have no further queries, then do we close the session?
Okay, hope yeah, all of your queries are done. So let me take this opportunity to thank Mr. Anil Pai for delivering such an amazing session, and he opened a way to learn about what AI is. He opened a way from a technical point of view, a technical person's point of view, an industry person point of view. We people can tell you what an academic point of view is, how the algorithms will work. What can you do with AI algorithms? How can you search? How can you do things so and so? But he can tell you clearly that what the industry wants from you. Okay, so I take this opportunity to express our gratitude to Mr. Anil Pai for being here, for spending your valuable time for us, and opened our way to the faculties, the researchers, the students in front of us to the world of AI. Let them dream, let more AI things come up. Thank you. A small token of refreshment for you is arranged outside. Okay, take it, have it, go to your classrooms. Okay, don't wander here and there. Okay, thank you.